Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I was not planning on making a video about this until I realized that this just happened to be the biggest upset of the season, as the AFL's official website has told us. And if you're new here, understand that the entire world of professional sports is rigged and scripted, and it's done so with a very, very simple code known as gematria, which comes from Kabbalah, which has the belief that God created the world with letters, numbers, and words. And the Jesuits, who operate by this code every single day, are using it to play God over the masses. And one of the things that I had said on my Patreon page, I wrote a post talking about where we decode rig sports. I wrote a post talking about why there was although it seemed far-fetched, there was a really good chance that you were going to see Greater Western Sydney pull off the upset of Geelong in this game, why this was very, very likely. And again, if you want to sign up for my Patreon, follow me on Twitter or add me on Facebook, all those links are the pinned post in the comments section. Anybody can sign up. It's easy to do it. You can be a part of the family. You can support the work. Or you can continue to be an ignorant little bogan or fuckwit, as they like to say at Down Under. So, getting into this, the AFL comes out and says, Cats carnage as undermanned Giants pull off year's biggest upset. That was the reason I wanted to make this. I had no idea that this was the biggest upset of the year. Aussie sports are just, to me, they're the easiest to call. Why? I don't know. I do not know. Maybe we're making things harder for ourselves in North American sports at times, although we still dominate those the same way. But if you're new here, you can be sure to go back and look at the videos I put out last year on the AFL and NRL grand finals, or rugby leagues rigged the same way the AFL is. But anyway, one of the things that we had talked about, what I had wrote about on Patreon, and the reason I thought this upset was probably going to happen was because on August 4th, which is a date written 8/4, they write it 4/8 in Australia, but it can be written both ways. In Victoria, which is where Geelong is, Geelong's a suburb of Melbourne. On August 4th, they had the media tells us. The media tells us they had their worst ever day of coronavirus, supposedly from the Delta variant, right? And what I had seen was, I said, if Geelong loses this game, they fall to 15-5 on the season. Notice how when you run the alphabetic order, coronavirus sums to 155, where C's the third letter, O's the 15th, R's the 18th, O's the 15th, N's the 14th, A's the 1st, V's the 22nd, I's the 9th, R's the 18th, U's the 21st, and S is the 19th, right? You add all of that up, it sums to 155. And we said, look at that. Geelong can fall to 15-5. And look at the Giants. They win the game with 84 points right after, 2 days after Melbourne gets hit with their worst day of coronavirus on 8/4. And look at this. They win the game by 19 points. Talking about COVID-19, the 19-year cycles of the moon that's why this code of letters and numbers is Jewish. The Jewish holidays are all synced up with the moon, and there's a whole lot more to that. If you're a veteran here, you know why. But the thing is, again, the mockery could not be any more real. And the thing is, they win by 19 points. During the time of COVID-19, they fall to 15-5, 2 days after the major outbreak in Victoria. On 8/4, Jesuits, who are behind this, the code of letters and numbers is their language. It's how they operate every day. They control media, government, military. They run the show. And notice Geelong goes down with their 65, right? Geelong, when you run the alphabetic order, 65. Pandemic, when you run the alphabetic order, 65. They go down with 65 points. That should remind you of Event 201, the coronavirus outbreak simulation of October 18th, 2019, co-hosted by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Johns Hopkins University, and the World Health Organization. They simulated a global pandemic that will kill 65 million people over 18 months. Event 201 was on Melinda Gates' 65th day of her age. Bill and Melinda Gates were married 65 days after Bill Gates' birthday. On March 5th, the 65th day of the year, they reported 65,000 cases in the United States, where I am, where as well as the Clade X simulation, like 201, both hosted in the States. But the reason that we thought that Greater Western Sydney had an opportunity to upset this game was because of this right here. We had seen you get 4 points for a win in the AFL, and we had said if the Giants upset, they get their 38th points of the season, and that's the big overlap number. Notice GWS Giants is 38, Geelong is 38. This cipher is different from the alphabetic order in the terms that it breaks every letter down to a single digit. So G7, G7, or G7, E5, E5. But when you get to L, the 12th letter, it becomes 3 because 1 plus 2 is 3. O, the 15th letter, 1 plus 5 is 6. N, the 14th letter, 1 plus 4 is 5. If the letter's already broken down to a single digit, you leave it alone. If you want to learn more, you got to read about this. You got to read this. Number games, 9/11 to coronavirus. It's explained why they operate by this code, why they do this stuff every single day. And when you're aware of it, you can take advantage of it, Like I said, and in light of this score, if you're on the Patreon, you probably, this number should jump out right away. The date of this game to the grand final should jump out right away. We've already talked about who we like in the grand final as well as in the NRL. I think we got both of those figured out. And again, you can watch the videos last year that I put out talking about the exact same numbers because it's their numbers, it's their system. You're on their calendar. You're a slave to their currency. You're speaking their language. So, yeah. Yep. Biggest upset of the year, but the Gematria community saw it coming. Till next time, guys, take it easy.